Today's selection will be Stand By Me.
Stand by me. The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear, than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. As we listen to the opening song, it is when we are going through things and when we are reminded of our mortality that we need and desire the most from Yahweh our Elohim. But Yahweh our Elohim operates the exact opposite. It is when we are doing our best that he requires our attention. He already knows he's going to get your attention when you're going through something. He already knows he's going to get your attention when you fall on hardship, when you got bills and you don't have enough money in the account to pay him. He already knows he's going to get your attention then. That's not when he wants your attention. That's when you want his attention. So he desires your attention when things are going well in your life. These are the things that we have to be reminded of as we get ready to enter into some very interesting times. When we talk about the redemption of the children of Israel, there are some things that are going to that must take place, and it is going to be a very tumultuous time for our people. If this then is the first time that Yahweh is beginning to hear from you, you're gonna have to talk for a while, cause he don't know you like that. So you get to know people in situation and circumstance as things go on. Whenever you all of a sudden get 1,000 calls from someone who never calls you before, then you know that they have now entered into a period of hardship. Now they're in a point where they want you to stand by them. But where were they before? Do understand, we were made in Yahweh's image. So the things that we have going on in our hearts and minds, it's not something that's completely beneath Yahweh. We forget where the emotions originally come from. Yahweh says that he has love, anger, and even hatred. So the very emotions that we have, we didn't develop those. Those were given unto us. But he also gave some instructions on how to deal with those things. So we have to put ourselves in a situation as if you had someone whom you never heard from, and soon as they go through hardship, now they are all on your call line, they all on your Facebook, they all on your everything, and they're requiring, that you stand by them. But where were they when things were going good? Where were they? This is not the situation that we want our Elohim to ask us. Because when things are going good, we are full of excuses as to why we can't do this and why we can't do that. I tell you what, let one of your legs fall off and you'll hop there. Wait a minute. So you couldn't get there with both legs, but you hopped there with one? That's amazing. How did you do that? Change of perspective is a mother. This is that thing that we allow other things to be our crutches. Yahweh snatched the crutch and the leg, and somehow you still got there. Right. So consider that as we ask him to stand by us. Where are we going to stand until the time being where we need him? Let's begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. And today's sermon is entitled, The Gift versus the Gift Giver. See, this is where Yahweh and his marvelous deeds get lost. Because we would then turn around and put more emphasis and more joy on the gift while we forget the one who gave the gift. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth.
All right. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image. Man wasn't made in his own image. Man automatically is not a regular creation. Man was made in the image of Elohim. Man ain't regular. Those other things were made so that man could have dominion over it. If I'm going to make you, and I'm going to make you in the image of us who have power over other things, then I have to make you differently than from everything else. I'm going to make that stuff, but then I'm going to make you to have dominion over it. If you're going to be in the stead of me, you got to have something that you have power over. If I'm going to make you in our image, we over stuff. We got power over stuff. So then as I make man, he has to do what? I have to make it rule over something, that it may have dominion over the fish, the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. There's a hierarchy in the creation. And upon the earth, it ends with man. Because he was created in the image and likeness of Elohim. Go ahead.
So Elohim created man in his own image, and in the image of El created he him. Male and female created he them.
Now, you have to be very careful about how you read these things, because if you go along, you're going to find, like, in each day where these things were done. We're dealing with Yahweh's days, not man's days. So please don't think that when it's talking about the sixth day, that it's really our sixth day. Okay, it might be 1,000,000 of our years in between day 1 and day 2. Go ahead.
And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. And Elohim said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Right. So then the original man was vegetarian. You can tell by the different blood types. A lot of times, a lot of people want to go to being a vegetarian, then they check their blood type, and then being vegetarian don't work out for them, and they can't figure out why. They eating every vegetable they can find, and they still 322 pounds. I don't get it. Why that? Your blood type don't work out for that. So you need to look at it, find out. Then why these veggies ain't working out for me? Right. In the beginning, man was vegetarian. What happened when he started instituting sacrifices? What happened then? Man got to eat that. Priests got to eat those sacrifices. I keep telling people, ain't no vegetarian priest. Ain't nobody sacrificing apples. Go ahead.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creeps upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
And meat means food, okay? Not meat like flesh. Go ahead.
And Elohim saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day.
All right, now you have to pay attention. And the evening and the morning were the 6th day. This is when the creation was done. Now, there's going to then be some explanation of those creations. And then if you listen to people, they will tell you that it's 2 different creations of man, because they don't understand that he's speaking of the creation and then he's giving you details of the creation later. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the 7th day Elohim ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made.
Right. So then the 7th day that we rest is in relation to the 7th day that he rested, not along the same timelines. Because his day and our day is not the same kind of day. But he gave you already, you are in a small representation of him. The whole creation was a small representation of him. So then we don't have the same powers that he had. He gave them on a scale. Like if you look at toy cars or something like that, it'll tell you 132 scale. I mean, if you multiply that car 32 times, you'll have the real size of that car. But the car looks just like the real car, but it's on a scale. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And Yahweh Elohim formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Right. Now, this we already read. Thus was the 7th day, and Elohim rested. Then we get to chapter 2 and verse 7, and he's giving us the explanation of what he did in the 6th day. Other people are then telling you that this is another creation. He done already rested. But then they're telling you that this is where you get that thing. But see, you got, Edith was before Eve. So you got Lilith. You got, man, who the hell is all these people? They got a whole nother creation because they had to find a way to explain what they could not explain. So there's another creation depending on, be careful when you flip through that History Channel. There's some good stuff on there. But boy, it's some bad stuff on there too. Even the name of their production company is the name of a pagan god. So pay attention. Go ahead.
And man became a living soul. And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahweh Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight.
Now, he'd already done that. Okay? He's giving the explanation of what he has done. This is why people in the beginning, he says male and female, he made them. He's giving you the explanation of what was done. Now he's giving you the order in which it was done. This is not another one. Go ahead.
And good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We'll jump to verse 15.
Yeah, jump to verse 15.
And Yahweh Elohim took the man and put him into the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For in the day that you eat it thereof, you shall surely die. And Yahweh Elohim said, it is not good that the man should be alone.
Okay. Yahweh said it's not good that the man should be alone. We have our own thoughts and things of how we're going to do everything. When Yahweh made all of the other things, he made a mate for them to be fruitful and multiply. Okay? This is where it throws people off, because he has already said in chapter 1, he made them male and female. He's given the entire thing. Now he's giving this order, and he says, okay, everyone else has a mate to be fruitful and multiply. Man that was created in our image and likeness, we have to find a mate for him. Yahweh didn't need one to reproduce. Understand that? Yahweh didn't need no wife. I want something, I make it. He didn't need a woman to reproduce. So originally there's not a situation where he has to deal with that with man. Man is made in our image. But on a smaller scale, we got to find a way that he's going to reproduce, because we can't give him that kind of power where he can just, make stuff. Now, he was close now. He can't have that kind of power. But I'm saying now he was close. He's able to stick his hand in the ground and do whatever he wanted to do and pull out whatever he wanted to pull out of it. We have lost so many abilities. We use a very small fraction of our brain. Yahweh cut us off from that, because we didn't do right with the access that we had with it. We did evil with it. But you have some abilities inside of you that you have absolutely no idea about. You ever ask yourself, how will somebody get into a situation where there are actual stories where a person has gotten their hands and fingers cut off in machinery and kept going and didn't know it was their fingers? I've seen the situation where the person actually looked down and said, man, somebody's fingers is in that machine, and kept going. They didn't know it was their fingers. Why didn't it hurt yet? If pain is what it is, why he didn't just pass out right then? He didn't know it was his finger. He kept going. And the other people got to come over there. Look, let's just come on. No, before you figure out their heels, let's go ahead and get these up. Get the remnants of the fingers. Grab this. Let's start wrapping up. What y'all doing? Don't even look over here. Don't worry about this. Just wrap this up. What are y'all doing? Just come on, man. We need to go to the break room. He don't know his fingers off yet. Therefore, he ain't felt no pain yet. If pain is what it is, why he don't know yet? There's some things inside their head that if you get control of it, amazing things can be done. Go ahead, bro.
I'll make him an helpmeet for him. Verse 19. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him.
Right. Now see, this is confusion if you think the whole thing was done in that order on the sixth day. See, now you think this is something else. You'd already said he made a male and female. Then he told me they can't find no mate for him. What happened to older women? And there are, complete teachings about a second creation. This is the order of how these things went. Because understand, he didn't need a mate right away being made in the stead of Yahweh. He had to have something that he was over, something that he had to deal with. He has a garden, he has a job, he has to deal with naming these animals so that he has control over those things. Now here comes Yahweh. It's not good for the man to be alone. Why, he just never figured that out? He didn't know that before? He made every other animal they got it. Go ahead.
You know, it's a good thing to break this down because, like you said, people get caught up in what they read in the beginning and don't realize there's an explanation coming.
Right.
I've had the same question. It's like, well, in chapter 1, he said he made the fowls of the air and the this and that. If he already called them fowl, how is Adam naming them? I'm like, nah, each one has a raven is a raven, a crow. And they don't realize that the situation's being told after it has happened.
Right.
So now you can go back and add details.
And a fowl is everything. That's flying. What that mean? That ain't no,
It's not a name.
Right. And all y'all can't be named man. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't, that ain't gonna work. Man, come here, you know what I'm saying? Four brothers show. I wasn't talking to you, Absalom. I was talking to Mishael. You said man, brother. You know what I'm saying? That encompasses all of us, bro. You got to tell us which man you talking about. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof.
Now, until who was that? Brother just went out of town. What's his name? Come on, man. I know I'm good with name. Rohan. Until Rohan had said, wait, he done change his name.
Ruel.
Man, his brother's name sounds just like the other name. Whatever. I'll figure it out when he get back. Look, until he had said that thing about the rib is the only part that grow back, man, I ain't never thought about that before. That a rib grows back. That is amazing. And then you look at some of those things that they do in operations when those people have like real deep issues. That's where they taking that stuff from. Because they can cut that rib out, the rib gonna grow back. Go ahead.
And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man.
See, this some operation stuff. Yahweh opening up stuff and taking it out. That's why I don't like to have no operations. Because I'm like, ain't now one of y'all Yahweh. I trust him to open me up. When you go on the table, you don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm always shaking in there whenever it come down to that. And then of course, they like to experiment on black people. So I'm really not, I'm really not comfortable in such situations. But go ahead.
And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed.
Right. Yahweh has created this beautiful and wonderful thing. He has created one out of the other. The order is already there in itself, but not put into a aggressive nature as far as how this is going to go. But we know the order because man was created in the image and likeness of Elohim. Everything else, he was given dominion over. Let's go to chapter 3 and verse 1.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, has Elohim said you shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Now, man was given a wonderful gift. When you talk about the whole situation of marriage, it says that a man shall cleave toward his wife, then they become spiritually one. Why? In the beginning, the woman was taken out of the man. And becoming one is not just that natural thing that we speak of. Becoming one spiritually is something altogether different. So now, this is supposed to be done. It says a man shall cleave to his wife. If a man is cleaving to his wife spiritually, then some of this stuff that start to happen is supposed to be known. Now, that may not all be the man's fault. There's some that just feel like they're not going to cleave with their husband. That means they got their own little secrets and they have their own things that they're going to deal with when they want to deal with, how they want to deal with it. But when this other entity starts talking, if there is spiritual oneness, there's supposed to be a conversation. See, every last time that there's a conversation between this serpent who's being used by the adversary, there is another layer inside the woman's mind and spirit that is gained that her husband knows absolutely nothing about. Now, this may not look like a form of adultery, but they're about to get into some things here. Because there's these conversations that keep happening. They don't know nothing about. There's a level that this man, this entity is reaching in her spirit that her husband knows not of. And now he's going to become victim to this. Go ahead.
And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, You shall not eat of it.
How'd she know that?
Her husband.
Because he shared with her the information that was given to him. But she's not going to share with him the information that's given to her. She know that because he told her. Yahweh gave him instructions. This is what you're supposed to do. Now she's doing her own thing. See, becoming one works both ways. You can't override becoming one if the other person is not going to involve themselves into becoming spiritually one. Because you can do all your things and they still doing whatever the hell that is they want to do. Now they'll still accept all your stuff though. But they accept it on the basis of how it benefits them. Go ahead.
Elohim has said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.
Elohim has said. So not only did he tell her, he didn't just give her a portion of the understanding. Okay? He told her where he got it from. He didn't just say, Look here, woman. Now, don't eat from the tree, and that's all we're going to talk about now. All right? You know what I'm saying? You want her bite? You want her bite? Well, don't eat from the tree then. That's not what he said. Because she is able to say where it came from. So he didn't just give her detail. He gave her another level of detail. This is what the instruction is. This is where I got it from. Go ahead.
And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die.
Uh-huh.
For Elohim does know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
At that point, the conversation should have been over. I need to go talk to my husband. When the angel came to Samson, folks, the angel appeared unto the woman. The woman took off running, went home, and told her there was a man. He wasn't like no regular man. And that man was talking. That man said some stuff. Man came again. Hey, I'm going to leave you standing here because I got to go get my husband. Go ahead.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food,
She has made this decision herself. When the woman has decided that this is good for food, where he at? She has made this decision absent of him. The information that she knows she got from him. He told her how he got it. He told her what it meant. He told her where he got it from. Her decision, she's making on her own. Becoming spiritually one, take two people to become spiritually one. Go ahead.
And that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat.
She took of the fruit and did eat. Now, there's a balance that is now upset. Go ahead.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
So now, the woman has been given to man as the most beautiful, holy gift that can be given to a creation. He created man and then created a woman out of that man and presented her to him. But at this point, now man is allowing the gift to overrule the gift giver. Because instead of taking Yahweh's instructions, he is now receiving his instructions from the woman. Go ahead.
And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
And
And
when you understand what's happening here, they have now lost their covering. The covering was spiritual. The covering was never natural. They walked naked. They had a spiritual covering. Now at this point, because he has taken the advice of the woman, he has now lost his spiritual covering. Now they know they're naked. And now they're looking for a natural covering. Go ahead.
And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim amongst the trees of the garden.
Now, when you don't understand the original abilities that man had, you really don't understand the power of that spiritual covering. Man was made in the image and likeness of Elohim. There was some automatic gifts that were there. First of all, he wasn't supposed to die. Go ahead.
You know, I often wonder about the conversation I brought up before. The woman's talking to the snake and she didn't run. So what ability was lost within that as well?
Right. They think it's, we look at those things. It was like, they say, oh, the dog whisperer. Oh, they got a gift. We all had that gift. They can speak to animals. We all did. Let a snake start talking today. I'm the first dude out of here. Sock, what happened? I don't know, Yahweh. I wasn't around to find out. I hope they all right. I'm out. I got my levels of things that I'll fight. But talking snakes is just not on my list. Go ahead, bro.
And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim amongst the trees of the garden.
The spiritual covering has been defiled. Go ahead.
And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told you that you was naked? Have you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded you that you should not eat?
Right. So now the spiritual covering has been defiled. Now man separated himself from Yahweh. I heard you and I went the other way. Same thing we do today. Commandments say one thing, Yahweh's words say one thing, we go the opposite way. What happened? Your spiritual covering gone. He ain't run from you, you ran from him. You the one felt some kind of way. You'll see people trying to come into church, they're like, well, once I get my stuff together, you know what I'm saying? I want to get my life more together, and then I'm gonna come. Right, you ran because you got some stuff that ain't right. Yahweh didn't just automatically send them away. They ran away from him. So when you see people running, understand why. Oh my goodness, I'm naked. Go ahead, bro.
Yahweh talked to him before and he was naked.
Right. Yahweh had I always say, hey man, Yahweh just might have been enjoying his work. I made that. Look at that. Who did that? I did. That's who. Yeah. He might have been enjoying his work. Then he go, man, Want to move early. And I'm going to get me some understanding. And it wasn't that Yahweh wasn't going to give you. But if you get things out of order, when you give things to a child that is not supposed to be given until they're adult, you can completely rearrange and screw up that child's life. Well, they going to get to do that? Yeah, in about 20 years. Go ahead, brother.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 12. And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
Now, he blames the issue on the gift. But he was the one who accepted direction from the gift. So now he has demoted the gift giver. Go ahead.
And Yahweh Elohim said unto the woman, what is this that you have done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. And I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you.
He shall rule over you. Now, there had to be a different order set before that. Before, there was a situation of ruling over. This is now instituted because of this thing. Go ahead.
And unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife.
Okay, why was his punishment given?
Because you hearkened unto the voice of the beast.
And you read in other places of the book, it says the woman was deceived. The man was not. The man made a decision. He made a decision that he was going to listen to his wife. At any point, that even after she ate, and she said, hey, look, it's good for food. Look, I ain't died. He had an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to need to pray about this, baby. I'm going to need to pray about it. But what we do, we get caught up in the moment. All right, you going? I'm going too. You going to eat? I'm eating too. We're going to die together as a family. No, that ain't going to work. Somebody got to tell the story. And I think I tell good stories. So I'm going to wait. And we're going to have this conversation with Yahweh and we're going to see. So why don't you put that little fruit there in that Ziploc bag and I'll come back and talk to you a little later. That way we're going to do this right here. Go ahead.
And unto Adam he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and has eaten of the tree of which I commanded you.
I commanded you, okay? So now you have taken the word of the gift over the gift giver. I gave her to you. How you going to turn around and put her over me? Go ahead.
Saying, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life.
So now the ground got cursed. The ground, I ain't do nothing. The man just put his hands and pull out whatever he want. I got cursed because he can't follow instructions. Go ahead.
Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread.
So now you got to work for the food that you just had to, before, stick your hand in the ground and pull it out. You talking about fast food? We had it already. You ain't even have to wait in line at the drive-thru. Say, bro, I'm hungry. You know what? Me too. That is delicious. Organic. Right. Good stuff. The stuff you get at Whole Foods for like $100 and it be like one bag. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. That's the stuff we had. Yeah. Go ahead.
Till you return unto the ground. For out of it was you taken, for dust you art. And
now,
unto the dust shall you
until
return.
you return unto the ground. Now he's got to institute burial. Look, look, you weren't supposed to die, so we wasn't having a conversation about death. But now, after putting the gift over the gift giver, now we got to have this death conversation. We didn't have to have the death conversation before, but now we got to talk about it. Go ahead.
That was it, verse 19.
All right, you finished that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. Let's get a little bit more information about defiled covering. See, you have to understand that the covering goes in levels, and the man was supposed to be a covering for his wife. Why not? She was taken out of him. Originally, she was inside of him. He was automatically her covering. He was opened up to pull her out. So he was her covering in creation, and when she was created, he was to be her covering. When he then allowed the gift to override the gift giver, now her covering has been defiled. Her covering was her husband. She has defiled her own covering. So the women who try to rule over a man is actually defiling their own covering. Spiritually. Isaiah 30, and let's start that at verse 1.
Woe to the rebellious children, says Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and they cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
They cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. Now think about the covering that they had in the garden. We think now we needed clothes to cover ourselves, because we defiled the spiritual covering. That spiritual covering, you can do whatever you wanted with it. They had an ability. After Yeshua was resurrected, that was a different body. There were times they were standing in front of him and didn't even know it was him. He'd go from this place, go to that place. They was able to stick their fingers in his wounds and then no blood come out. Original man was made in the image and likeness of Elohim. That was a different body. Yahweh had to make that body back to a lower state than what it was given. You're talking about a man being able to live 963 or so years? That ain't no regular body. And we can find that out just by looking at the things that are created here. When you get something at the store, they try to sell you the warranty. You can get the 2-year warranty or the 5-year warranty. They got them parts set out. They're going to go out in 1 year and 11 months. They don't make stuff. You didn't need warranties back then. Man, back in the days, you bought something and it just ran and ran and ran. This stuff here, they have figured out a way to make it so it crashes at a certain point. It's just, the construction sucks. Just headlights used to be made out of glass. Mm-hmm. Now, after a while, you look at your headlight and it's just foggy. It's something when your car is squinting just like you. I think there's another car. There's another car. Yeah, you and the car squint. Now, wait a minute. It can't even see out the headlight no more than you. Sooner or later, they're going to make glasses for cars. They put them right on there. Just hook it around the tire. You're like, what? That brother car can't see. Look at that. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 2. That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be in help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beast of the south into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them.
And you have to listen to the viper and the fiery flying serpent. I got a problem with the serpent on the ground. Wait a minute. That song that fly, and they got fire. What y'all think Lucifer is? When you start reading about this stuff that's around the throne, and they start talking about fiery serpents. Wait a minute now. There are some different kind of stuff around that throne, which is why I wouldn't be just trying to walk up to it. Go ahead.
Verse 7. For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still.
The thing that we cannot do to save our own life. Yet you can train a dog to sit still. But you can't train people to sit still at all. Just sit right here. I'll be right back. We inching more than the dog. What, the dog not even moving? You told the dog to sit still. The dog just sitting there. He waiting. Not us. Go ahead.
Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. That this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of Yahweh, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit.
Right. This is why we have those itching ears and go off to find us some teachers who will say the things that we want to hear. See, this ain't new. This is something we've been doing. Prophesy unto us deceits. Make us feel good. Tell us that stuff that Klepto be saying on Sunday morning. God ain't mad at you. Right. We come out of the lie, but still want to be lied to.
Right? Don't tell like full lies, maybe just little ones. Lie like, be lie-ish.
What? Go ahead, bro.
Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore thus says the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness.
And that's what we do. We don't say it like that, but when we deal with it, we are actually despising his word. He says, don't eat from the tree. We end up eating from the tree. You despise the word. Now we all gonna come short of the glory and fall at some point, at some time. We just can't keep falling. You fall, you get back up. Go ahead.
And stay thereon. Therefore, this lawlessness shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it a sherd to take fire from the hearth, or to take water withal out of the pit. For thus says the Adonai Yah, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall you be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and you would not.
And you would not. Go ahead.
But you said, no, for we will flee upon horses. Therefore shall you flee, and we will ride upon the swift. Therefore shall they that pursue you be swift.
Right. You move fast, and he gonna make the people that's chasing you faster. Everything that you do to get advantage other than listening and following him, he's going to just over-equip the adversary who's chasing you. So it's gonna feel like you making advancement. Man, I got me a big old stick. I'm gonna swing this one right here. Yeah, and Yahweh just get him a bigger stick. Hey, you ain't a big stick. Where you get it from? Because they got one. Yeah, but these your people. I know, hit them with it. Because they won't listen. Go ahead.
1,000 shall flee at the rebuke of one. At the rebuke of 5 shall you flee, till you be left as a beacon upon the top of a mountain and as an ensign on an hill.
All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 28. Ezekiel 28, and let's read verses 11 through 19. Now, when you read this in the beginning, he's starting off dealing with a earthly king, and then it rolls into the thing of dealing with the adversary, the devil. And we have to understand that the adversary, the devil, will give earthly men powers who are going to openly worship him. This is why we end up being so confused in the other areas whereby we worshiped, especially worshiping on Sunday morning. Once we figured out that there were certain things that were wrong, but we look up and certain people were always getting blessed. So how are they getting blessed if this is wrong? So you have those that are accidentally serving the adversary of the devil. And then you have those that are purposely worshiping the adversary of the devil. And every time you add up your stuff, it ain't going to come up to theirs. Because they purposely worshiping the devil. They know they worshiping the devil. He going to get them more than he going to give you. Go ahead, brother.
Ezekiel chapter 28 and verse 11. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus says the Adonai Yah, You sealeth up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You have been in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was your covering.
Every precious stone was your covering. Go ahead.
The sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of your tabrets and of your pipes was prepared in you in the day that you was created.
In the day that you were created. And if you look at that graphic, you then see these precious stones that was the covering. Then you look at the things that were given unto the high priest to wear, and you have some of the same things. But the adversary is having some things that are missing, but you see the likeness of the power that was then given. So when Yahweh have this high priest to have all of these things, he has given him the same covering that Lucifer had, but with a little bit more. Go ahead.
You art the anointed cherub that covers.
Now, he was given all of these precious stones as a covering, but then he is also a covering. So the covering has a covering. Imagine that. Go ahead.
And I've set you so. You was upon the holy mountain of Elohim. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You was perfect in your ways from the day that you was created, till lawlessness was found in you.
So, consider this. The adversary was given all the precious stones as a covering. He is, what it says, the anointed cherub that covers. He covered the mercy seat. He didn't want his covering or to be a covering. Isn't it amazing how that is one of the first things that he fought? First thing they're going to tell you out in the world, why would you wear a covering? They don't want to wear one because their daddy, the devil, don't want to wear one. Read, brother.
By the multitude of your merchandise, they have filled the midst of you with violence, and you have sinned. Therefore, I will cast you out as profane out of the mountain of Elohim.
I'm going to cast you out as profane out of the mountain of Elohim. And he said, well, I ain't wearing no covering. I ain't going to be no covering either. And it is the easiest fight to notice, yet you don't really understand where the fight is coming from. You'll see some women and some coverings. You'll be like, oh my God, they look so beautiful. And then even the people who don't want to wear it, they'll be like, yeah, they do look beautiful. I don't want to wear one though. I don't know why. I do. Read, bro.
And I'll destroy you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty.
Your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. Go ahead.
You have corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness. I will cast you to the ground. I will lay you before kings, that they may behold you. You have defiled your sanctuaries by the multitude of your lawlessness, by the lawlessness of your traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of you. It shall devour you, and I will bring you to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold you. All they that know you among the people shall be astonished at you. You shall be a terror, and never shall you be any more. Again, the word of Yahweh came on to me, saying,
All right, that's as far as I want to go there.
Okay.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. First Corinthians 11, and let's start that at verse 1.
Verse 1. Be you followers of me, even as I also am of the Mashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
Right. Keep the ordinances as I've delivered them unto you. So then there were ordinances that were then delivered unto the Euro-Gentiles. Go ahead.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Mashiach.
All right. So then there's an order. There's a hierarchy here. The head of the man is the Mashiach. Because how is this set up? What does did the Mashiach become unto the children of Israel? What is his position? High priest. The children of Israel were set to be a kingdom of priests. See, we still stuck on the man part. See, this is why you have to know when you're reading these things, which part applies to Israel and which part applies unto the Euro-Gentiles. So our people here say a man should not have anything on his head. You ain't no man. You a kingdom of priests. A holy nation, a royal priesthood. That's what you are. And don't let nobody tell you differently. Go ahead.
And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of the Mashiach is Elohim.
Right. Order. Go ahead.
Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonors his head.
Right. Every man. You had the priesthood set up. You had under priests. They had one head covering to show that they were under authority. Then you have the high priest who had two head coverings. And Yeshua is what? High priest. Go ahead.
You know, even in verse 3, it kills that whole Christian doctrine of the Father and the Son and them all being one entity and this and that.
Hey, Creflo accidentally bust that up the other day.
God gonna have to apologize to Jesus if he destroy America.
It's like, do you even hear the crap that comes out of your mouth? Do you turn your own ears off? But see, that's what you can do when you can, just make $1 kajillion. But when you openly worship the adversary, the devil, he's serving a different God than what we serve. People like, oh, he gonna be in trouble. No, he ain't. He gonna happy with him. The devil gave him a high five, so he gave me a high five, Cref. Hey, you did that, Cref. Hey, God ain't mad with him. He did exactly what he wanted to do. You gotta understand what team you on. Talking about God mad at him. He talking about a different God. He ain't talking about ours. Think about it. Didn't the angels say to Yeshua, have you come before the time to torment us? So then he will have to apologize if he does it out of time. Oh. Even the demons knew that there was a time that they were given the rule. Yeshua, you cannot destroy us yet. He talking to a different God. You gotta learn how to listen. Go ahead.
You know, even with this, with the man's head being covered, if it was a common practice back then for the men to have their head uncovered, why would you be worried about that? Because obviously it was common for them to have their head covered.
Well, especially if you have to deal with this and you bringing the word to a nation of Gentiles who haven't had the word before. So then you have to explain some different things. And then you got children of Israel who are mixed among them. And we'll just hop up and we're part-time teachers in a minute now. You know what I'm saying? We'll teach the hell out of you for 32 minutes. And then we won't do nothing else for the next 2 years. See? That's why I tell people, be careful about, anybody can set up a webcam in their living room. They haven't had to inconvenience themselves for nobody. And they teach certain topics get more attention. See, I notice I may teach one thing and it automatically have 1,000 views in one day. Another one, it takes 6 months for somebody to look at it 1,000 times. You know why? Because they like certain titles. But other people are making videos so they can sell merchandise. They're not making videos to actually teach the people righteousness. They need more people to come to their site because then more people will buy products. Right. You're being made merchandise of and have no idea. We might well go back Sunday morning. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. But every woman that prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head.
Look, buy the merchandise, leave the doctrine there.
Excuse me, I'd like to get that merchandise, but keep that doctrine. Thank you. All right. Next.
Go ahead, bro.
For that is even all one as if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered.
Right. If she does not want to be covered, then let her hair be shaved off. That's the end of the discussion. This is supposed to be a Christian conversation. See, a lot of people looking, strange because they hearing this in the word. Let me tell you something. You were supposed to hear that at Christianity. I wasn't supposed to be the one to read that to you. We were supposed to already know that when we came here. So why folks be looking at me all cross-eyed when I go into...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. How long till we get these pretty dress? The world got to see this.
Read, man.
Hey, can I keep a pair of clippers at the door?
Hey, bro, I got a pair of clippers in my office.
You don't want to cover up?
Hey,
right now.
I got 2 pair of clippers in my office. Uh-huh. I don't want to cover. You ain't got to cover no more, sister. Come on. I take care of that business. Uh-huh. I ain't got no problem being a bad guy. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 7. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Elohim, but the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman.
Listen to that. The woman is the glory of the man. We're gonna get into something else, but I want you to remember that part. That there's a certain glory that's there that has to be dealt with. Go ahead.
For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels.
Right. And you have people saying, well, if it's, we wear our head covering during church. So I guess the angel don't go nowhere else. The angel don't do nowhere but come to church. That's it. The angel can't go nowhere else. He just come and stand in the sanctuary. That's it. That's all he can do. Apparently he can't look that way. He just can go left and right. That's it. That's all he can do. Right. We're going to see when we need some protection. Let's see if he can look more than left and right. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man, in the Adonai. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things of Elohim. Judging yourselves, is it comely that a woman pray unto Elohim uncovered?
Now, is it comely that a woman pray unto Elohim uncovered? You have to consider this. Even in the beginning, they were naked and unashamed. But they had a spiritual covering, and then she had a covering of her husband right there beside her. The covering was defiled by how things were done. Go ahead.
Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him? But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her. For her hair is given her for a covering.
Right. And hey, that's all you needed to say for some people.
Well, see, I got a covering on. It's my hair. See, that is a covering.
Yeah, we'll cover your cover. Go ahead.
But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of Elohim.
Right. And you have people that want to purposely teach that with a slant because you'll get more viewers to buy more products. See? That's how we play the game. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah 14, and let's start that at verse 1.
Verse 1. For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
They shall cleave to the house of Jacob. When you start talking in the beginning, the man was supposed to cleave to his wife, become spiritually one. Now, when you talk about Yahweh setting up and restoring the children of Israel, the strangers will cleave to the house of Israel. They're going to want to do the things that you do, which is what the nations do now. The nations follow us. We walk down the street stupid for long. Y'all know what happened? Used to be a time that you could tell black folk car from white folk car. Can't tell no more, can't you? Can't tell no more, can't you? Brother get a $400 car and put $1,400 worth of music in. Alternator don't work. We have to coast down the hill. Cause the music done drained everything. I remember I used to hear them white boy.
My God, I can't believe that they would do that.
Couple years later, here come the white boy. What you doing?
Couldn't resist myself. I love it.
Right. Right. It is automatically in them to follow you. They saw it, they start doing it. So you keep doing stuff, you are affecting the other nations. They're supposed to follow you. Yahweh put a light on you. You don't just affect yourself, you affect other people. Go ahead.
Man, we as a people have completely revolutionized the car industry without getting any credit for it.
You got it. We do all kind of stuff and people follow us. It is utterly amazing. We walk around with our pants hanging down, showing the pretty draws. Next thing you know, here come the white boy. Hey, look, he done lost his belt too. Look at that. That's why the white folk be mad at us.
Oh, now Johnny's going to do it. Good God.
They probably get mad every time they see they got another black friend. Oh my God, he's going to be doing what Tyrone does. God. Go ahead, man.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Right, and I keep asking folks, who were the Jewish held as captives? Who held them as captives? See, they're supposed to be released from captivity and then rule. How they already in the land but was not captive to anybody? See, this is the kind of stuff. This is the reason why they actually call you a cult. Because you can present questions that the nations cannot answer. So when you start saying that kind of stuff,
Oh, they're in a cult. It's anti-Semitism.
I'm the only Semite in the room. The hell you talking about? You ain't there. So you trying to tell me I'm anti-me? No, I love me. You are incorrect. Go ahead.
And they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give you rest from your sorrow and from your fear and from the hard bondage wherein you was made to serve, that you shall take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
Now, the hard bondage wherein you was made to serve. Can't find that either in Jewish history. How you make an accountant serve rigorously?
Man, I had to count all this money. Oh, I'm so sick of it. There's millions upon millions.
I'm sorry, that was punishment? How? Right. Go ahead.
And say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Yahweh has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers.
So, if you're confused, you back up and understand. The power of the adversary, the devil, is given within the evil nations that rule. So the fall of certain entities is also the fall of the adversary, the devil, which is also the restoration of the children of Israel. You have multiple things happening at the same time. Go ahead.
He who smote the people in anger with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hinders. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing.
So if the whole earth is at rest, we know some things gonna have to happen with this daughter of Babylon right here. Because she ain't everybody's business. I mean, everybody been done confused them folk over there so much they done shot down a plane they didn't want to shoot down. See, that's what happens when you get scared, you shoot. Yeah, pop, 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 pop. Oh my God, mama, I'm sorry. Oh, mama, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. You just started shooting. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, you know, the Iraqis have finally said what you said in Bible study. This is not your war zone. Stop destroying our yard.
Ain't it bad when somebody just want to keep fighting in your house? I got a problem with Kish. Well, have a problem with Kish at his house. Why are you here? You tear up my living room. Hell, I bought this stuff for me to sit on. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 8. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you are laid down, no fellers come up against us.
Right. See, all you got to do is get laid down, and we won't have these problems all the time. Every time you turn around, somebody else in the Middle East got a problem. It's quite interesting that they're trying to basically starve the people out. They basically put all the sanctions on them and tell them that they can't sell their own goods. And Iran just found this 59 billion barrel oil field. Mighty funny, a conflict happened right after they found the oil. You know, oh man, we just found some oil.
Oh, I want to fight now. Oh, I want to fight.
What you want to fight for?
Heard you got some more money.
We need to get that. Right. Mighty interesting. Mighty interesting. Go ahead, bro.
Hell from beneath is moved for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto you, are you also become weak as we? Are you become like unto us? Your pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of your viols, the worm is spread unto you, and the worms cover you. How are you fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How are you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations?
Which did weaken the nations. Because he gave them the same opportunity that he gave Yahshua. All shall be yours if you just bow down and serve me. If you worship me, I'll give you everything. And the nations took it. This is why we get upset when we see we envy the oppressors. Because we see how much stuff they have. But they agree with the adversary, the devil. He didn't offer any commandments. He said, all you got to do is bow down and serve me, and all shall be yours. I'll give you all this stuff. Who gave it to him? Yahweh. He was supposed to have a job to do. But he's dealing with that how he wants to deal with that. Go ahead.
For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
So now the covering, the one that was covered, who then was a covering unto the mercy seat, no longer wants to cover the seat. They want to sit in it. Sounds like an upside down house. The one that is in the house no longer wants to be under the husband's head. Said, no. I want to make and call the shots. Yahweh going through the same thing. He's having to go through the exact same things. Go ahead.
Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you and consider you, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the houses of his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house.
Everyone in his own house. So now the land can have peace. There's the thing that we have to deal with. The fall of the daughter of Babylon, the imprisonment of the adversary, the devil. Now there's peace. So then you understand which nations he's been using. Real simple. It ain't rocket science. All the peace happened when he get arrested and the nations that he has used get laid down. They the ones that affect everybody else. Go ahead.
But you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. You shall not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land, and slain your people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the lawlessness of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, says Yahweh. I will also make it a position for the bittern and pools of water, and I'll sweep it with the besom of destruction.
With the broom of destruction, says Yahweh of hosts. So we understand that some great destructions will have to take place. One of the things that we were talking about, I think we discussed it in Bible study, how Trump, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21, how Trump was saying how he sent those old tweets talking about how Obama was starting a war to keep from, being put out of office. And then he's doing the exact same thing. They're talking about impeachment. He talked about Obama, and they talked about Clinton. It is the same thing that all of them do. Let's create a diversion and let everybody talk about the diversion. Okay? He's doing the exact same thing. Deuteronomy chapter 21. And we're going to read verses 1 through 17. And we have to remember the whole part about, this covering. So you have the adversary, the devil, who no longer wanted to cover or be a covering as he was created to be. Understand, the woman was created for the man. The one who we now call the adversary, the devil, was created to be a covering. Deuteronomy 21, and let's start that at verse 1.
If one be found slain in the land which Yahweh Elohim gives you to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who has slain him, then your elders and your judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain. And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city shall take an heifer, which has not been wrought with, and which has not drawn in the yoke, and the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer onto a rough valley, which is neither eared nor sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley.
So understand then that this is a valuable animal. This animal has not been used to work. This is a fine animal here that you have to then shed its blood to make atonement for a slaying that you know nothing about. See, this is what would encourage us not to do righteous things, because we look at, man, I'm finna have to lose this. This would be awesome if I can keep it. And now righteous judgment is not done the way it's supposed to be. Go ahead.
And the sons of Levi shall come near, for them Yahweh your Elohim has chosen to minister unto him, and to bless in the name of Yahweh. And by their word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried.
Right, and by their word every stroke and controversy shall be tried. That's not how we deal with it. We have a controversy or something, we go to our friends, and they know less than you. Now, how intelligent was that? Go ahead.
And all the leaders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Yahweh, unto your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto your people of Israel's charge. And the blood shall be forgiven them. So shall you put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you.
So the guilt of innocent blood is still among you, because there has not been a situation of atonement for the innocent blood that was shed in that land. See, you're responsible for what happened in your land, whether you did it or not. Message. Pick up. Left side of the room. Message. Pick up. Read, man.
So shall you put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahweh. When you go forth to war against your enemies, and Yahweh Elohim hath delivered them into your hands, and you have taken them captive, and seized among the captives a beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her, that you would have her to your wife, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails.
Why? Why is she shaving her head? What was her hair?
Covering of the last husband.
Her glory, but she belonged to somebody else, right? Well, then that's the last dude's glory. She got to start over and grow new glory for him. Read, man.
And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in your house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month.
Now, do not flood my email with questions where my woman was with another man before. Should I shave off her head? We are not shaving no damn body hair. Do not send me no, I swear for Yahweh. Y'all send me an email. It's going to be ugly up in here. Do not, I ain't shaving nobody head. Read, man.
It says war.
Hey, folks like, hey, I had to fight for it. Look, no, bro, no. Bro, that ain't the same, bro. Look, no. Read, man.
And after that you shall go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be your wife.
Right. He had to wait a full month. Why? make sure she ain't already pregnant. She could be pregnant from her previous husband, and you brought her in her house, in your house, and you so excited. You so excited, you know. You need to wait a full month. You need to separate her from the glory of her previous husband, and then she may become your wife. Correct?
And it shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall let her go, whether she will. But you shall not sell her at all for money. You shall not make merchandise of her.
You shall not make merchandise of her. See, there's so many different levels of making merchandise that we don't even understand when we have been made merchandise of. We get so excited when we hear something. Right, they reeled you in to make merchandise of you. Because he has humbled this woman, he may not sell her at all. See, now you're messing up the levels now. Go ahead.
Verse 15. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he makes his sons to inherit that which he has, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn.
Now, why would it automatically assume that the first wife, it automatically assumes that the firstborn will come from the first wife? Why would it then assume that she would be the one that would be hated? He know Israel. Because we throw all our attention on the first new thing we get. So for us to get all the attention on the new thing, we got to hate the other one. And Yahweh like, I already know y'all. Y'all stupid. So let me go ahead and take care of this business right off the rip. What? He saw us in the garden. There was a wonderful love with Yahweh and man till he gave him a gift. Hey, we set Yahweh aside for a gift. You don't think we'll set another gift aside for another gift? He said, you did it to me. Go ahead, bro.
That he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his.
Now, this right here is going to get a little bit interesting as we read some other things here. Okay? So you have the firstborn is automatically assumed to come from the first wife. But what if it does not happen that way? Let's go to Genesis chapter 16. See, Yahweh's law covers everything. See, our problem is we got an issue with Yahweh's law. See, we have an issue. We have to first understand this order and how things have to go and what that means. For Ruth to be given to Boaz, y'all had to remove her former head, who had proven himself not to be an adequate covering. For a man, this means that he has to die in order for that woman to be righteously given to another man. When you deal with the situation of Dawid and Abigail, Abigail was a righteous woman, but her husband was a fool. He was removed from life so that she was available to become a wife to Dawid. So you have coverings being removed so that other coverings can be put in place. I need for everybody to understand just how serious that is. If there is a righteous woman walking in the word and a man is not being an adequate covering for that woman, Yahweh will endure for a while and he will remove that man and give that woman to a man who is going to be a righteous covering unto her. And vice versa. But he don't have to kill y'all. The man got to die. Genesis chapter 16. Let's start that at verse 1.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children. And she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, Yahweh has restrained me from bearing. I pray you, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Now, when these things go, a lot of times we deal with bits and pieces. There needs to be a real meditation about what all of that is going to entail. Because a lot of times we'll deal with the first level or the first aspect of something, but you got to deal with what happens when certain other things come into play. He hearkened unto her voice and what she asked, but how deep was he into it? Keep reading.
And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife.
So she gave her to her husband. So she was the gift giver. Go ahead.
And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
Okay, her mistress was now despised in her eyes. Pay attention. Go ahead.
And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon you.
Now, wait a minute. Now, she talking to him. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. She's not talking to the other woman. Go ahead.
I have given my maiden into your bosom.
Uh-huh.
And when she saw that she had conceived,
Uh-huh.
I was despised in her eyes.
Uh-huh.
Yahweh judge between me and you.
Yahweh judge between me and who?
You.
She didn't say Yahweh judge between me and her. Yahweh judge between me and you. You were supposed to orchestrate how this was supposed to go. See, we don't understand just how deep some of these things go. If this man, when it says if a man have two wives, then he have to spiritually become one with both of them. She was supposed to be about what he was about. And she charges him with not dealing with it. She didn't go to that woman. I got a problem with you. No. I got a problem with you, Abram, because you have not done what you were supposed to do to make sure that she walks the way that this house goes. This is your fault. Yahweh judge between me and you, not me and her. Go ahead.
But Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, your handmaid is in your hand.
He copped out. He didn't take care of the business. But you do what you got. Do whatever you say then. He didn't take care of the business. Go ahead.
Do to her as it pleases you. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
When Sarai dealt hardly with her. So she wasn't dealing hardly with her before. And in him not dealing with his house, he just let her have free reign. Now there's a situation that there's schism in the house. You have to consider something. Isaiah 4 says that 7 women will grab hold of one man. Do you understand how difficult that's going to be to become spiritually one with 7 different women? We can't become spiritually one with the damn one we got now. You have any idea how difficult that's going to be? This whole man boy thing going to have to end somewhere. Because we're going to have some serious problems in Isaiah 4. It's serious issues right there. But she charged it in the right direction. It's your fault. You ain't took care of your business. Go ahead.
You know, even what you were just talking about with her not dealing hardly with her, at least there had to be some relationship between them two for her to even have considered say, hey,
right,
go into her.
Right. He didn't just go down the street and just find somebody and throw him in the car. That's not what happened. Yeah, that's not what happened. It's not what happened. Damn, you look wifey. Get in there. That ain't what happened. That ain't what happened. She had to already have liked that woman already. and felt like she would be okay to be in their house. Go ahead, brother.
And the angel of Yahweh found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to shore. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence cometh you? And whither will you go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, Return to your mistress, and submit yourself under her hands. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
All right, now, Abram's firstborn is not coming from the first wife. Go ahead.
And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, Behold, you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh has heard your affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
All right, now let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20, and let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Ezekiel chapter 20, and we're going to start that at verse 1. You have to look at how Yahweh began to orchestrate that situation. Ishmael's daddy was Abram. Esau's daddy was Abraham. So he got another firstborn there. So he found a way to give back the right of the firstborn back to the first wife. See, we be so busy trying to orchestrate our own stuff, and we don't see Yahweh like, I got you, man. I got you. Ezekiel chapter 20, and let's start at verse 1.
And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahweh, and sat before me. Then came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto the elders of Israel, and say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, Are you come to inquire of me? As I live, said the Adonai Yah, I will not be inquired of by you. Will you judge them? Son of man, will you judge them? Cause them to know the abominations of their fathers.
Right. Yahweh says, I've given you a great gift. I first gave man a garden, and I had to remove him from that. Then I gave man the land that I had spied out for myself. I gave this unto Israel. What did we do? Love the gift more than the gift giver. That's why we're walking around here with 12 tribe charts. We Israel, yeah, we Israel. That's right. You Judah, yeah, you Judah. Say what? We all in pep rally mode. Because we like the gift more than we like the gift giver. What you think Sarai was charging her husband with? You like the gift more than you like the gift giver. Yahweh charged us with the same thing. I gave you a land, but all you talk about is the land and the tribe, but you forget where you got it from. Go ahead.
And say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, In the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up mine hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim. In the day that I lifted up mine hand unto them, to bring them forth out of the land of Egypt into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands.
Which is the glory of all lands. This is the land that I have espied out for you. But then we get the big head when we get it. And we forget where the gift came from. Go ahead.
Then said I unto them, Cast you away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. But they rebelled against me, and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them, in bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt.
So then you understand the power of this holy name. He says, I was about to do something to y'all, then I realized that I'm going to pollute my holy name. I was about to do something, but then I realized I'm going to mess up my holy name. Then you understand why it says that women will flock to Israel saying, look, we'll pay our own way. Just give us your name to take away the reproach. That name is powerful. How you going to carry it? And you women that's walking in the word, why would you have reproach? Why would you have reproach? Somebody ain't walking right. Go ahead, bro.
Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness. And I gave them my statutes, and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. Moreover also I gave them my Sabbaths, to be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am Yahweh that sanctified them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness, to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake.
Once again, I was going to do something, but for my holy name's sake, you don't understand how great the name is that you have. There's some times that we're about to be destroyed, and Yahweh like, you know what? They called by Israel. Let them go. Let them go. Right. You don't understand how great the name is you got. Go ahead.
You know, even with this wrought for his name's sake, what people missing in this is that a lot of times it's Moshe standing in the breach. Yahweh, if you do this, how the other nations gonna see you?
Hey, bro, that has happened so many times for the children of Israel. But when you get down to now, Moshe had to stand in the breach at that particular point. Now the whole world knows that they are Israel. So no matter what, the world is going to know that, hey man, them people that you said that were called by your name, look at what happened to them. See? Now the fame of Israel has already gone out. The fame of Yahweh has already gone out. And y'all know that. Soon as something happened, they can't wait to put a so-called Hebrew on TV and say, you know, something happened. He's linked to a Hebrew Israelite. What the hell does linked mean? What, did he go there at one time? Was he ain't part of the group? He ain't went. He studied some stuff. Hell, I studied some Buddhism. Hell, I looked at it on the internet. What does that mean? I'm linked to it? What does that mean? But it was very convenient. They can't wait. Go ahead.
But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, on whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Because they despised my judgments, and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbaths, for their heart went after their idols. Nevertheless, mine eye had spared them from destroying them, neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness. But I said unto their children in the wilderness, walk you not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am Yahweh your Elohim. Walk in my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and hallow my Sabbaths, and they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahweh your Elohim. Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgments to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbaths. Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them, to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew mine hand, and wrought for my name's sake.
See, See, these are the things that we sing about and we pray about. Yahweh, stand by me. Yahweh, come deliver me. We don't understand how many times he's already done it. Because Yahweh don't sound a trumpet every time he save you from something. See? You're supposed to get consumed over here. Yahweh didn't just show up and just jump out the trunk. Bah, bah, bah!
Save your life.
You know what I'm saying? He don't do that, so we don't know how many times it done already been done. So here it is, we singing about deliverance, and you just had it yesterday. That was supposed to have been your last day. Go ahead, bro.
That it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up mine hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen, and disperse them throughout the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Sabbaths, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. And I polluted them in their own gifts, in that they caused to pass through the fire all that opens the womb, that I might make them desolate, to the end that they might know that I am Yahweh. Therefore, Son of man, speak unto the house of Israel, and say unto them, Thus says the Adonai Yah, Yet in this your fathers have blasphemed me, in that they have committed a trespass against me. For when I had brought them into the land, for the which I lifted up mine hand to give it to them, then they saw every high hill and all the thick trees, and they offered there their sacrifices, and there they presented the provocation of their offering. There also they made their sweet savor, and poured out their drink offerings. Then I said unto them, What is the high place whereunto you go? And the name thereof is called Bema, unto this day. Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, Thus says the Adonai Yah, Are you polluted after the manner of your fathers? And commit you whoredom after their abominations? For when you offer your gifts, when you make your sons to pass through the fire, you pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel?
Right. When we begin to walk in the things of the other nations, we cut ourselves off from Yahweh. The same way that it was done in the garden. The same way that when we decided that we wanted to walk how we wanted to walk, there was a separation in between us and our Elohim. We do the same thing all over again. Go ahead.
As I live, says the Adonai Yah, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which comes into your mind shall not be at all, that you say, We will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. As I live, says the Adonai Yah, surely with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out, will I rule over you.
Right. This is not a pretty situation. The redemption of the children of Israel comes after much indignation. Go ahead.
And I'll bring you out from I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered, with a mighty hand, and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out.
Right. Yahweh is looking for the remnant that is going to respect the gift and the gift giver. You can't disrespect either one. You got some that love Yahweh, but then will not deal with his land. His land and him, they go hand in hand. They're together. So you can't disrespect either one. That's the remnant that he's looking for. Go ahead.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pled with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt.
Right. I'm giving you an opportunity. Everything that Yahweh said, he said, when you be coming to the land. So I'm going to give you this gift, and I want you to show respect to the gift giver when you get there. So he's given an opportunity to purge out these rebels who just want to accept the gift. That's what the mixed multitude was about. They just want to get out of Egypt. Like, look, we don't want to hear nothing about these rules and regulations. We ain't going to follow none of that. I mean, we don't like y'all like that anyway. We just trying to get away from you know who. Go ahead.
So will I plead with you, says the Adonai Yah, and I'll cause you to pass under the rod, and I'll bring you into the bond of the covenant.
See, I'm going to teach you the righteousness of my laws, and we're going to see who's going to walk. Go ahead.
And I'll purge out from among you the rebels.
Right. Some of the rebels are going to be some of the nicest people you ever seen in your life. I mean, just so nice, so it seems. But rebels ain't going to follow nothing. They might sound just as sweet. But when the rubber hit the road, they ain't going nowhere. Go ahead.
And them that transgress against me, I'll bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am Yahweh.
And you know how bad that's got to be for you to be purged out of the nations. The nations kick us out in all the various places. Then we go to get purged out once more in the wilderness, only to still not go into the land that he has set forth for the children of Israel. So you go through all that for nothing. Hey, it was people that came out of Egypt that didn't go into Israel. See, that's why we think we slick. We just gonna go now. No, he ain't gonna purge me out. I'm going right to Israel. That's what I'm gonna do. You know, well, you know, I tell you what Yahweh didn't know, he didn't know about this ticket. Right. So we'll see how that worked for you. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 39. As for you, O house of Israel, thus says the Adonai, go you, serve you every one his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute you my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols.
Right, just keep my name out your mouth. So when people say, you know, his name is too holy to say, no, it's too holy for you to say. You should keep his name out of your mouth. You can call him Hashem or Hachu or whatever that is you want to call him. Don't matter to me. You should keep his name out your mouth. But here's my Elohim. His name going to continually come out my mouth. Go ahead.
For in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, says the Adonai, there shall also the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings, and the first fruits of your oblations, with all your holy things. I will accept you with your sweet savor, when I bring you out from the people, and gather you out of the countries wherein you have been scattered.
Right, countries, plural. Israel ain't supposed to just come from one place. So that whole, we just came out of Germany. Well, you missing about 20 other countries then. That's all you missing. Something is wrong here. Go ahead.
And I'll be sanctified in you before the heathen. And you shall know that I am Yahweh, when I shall bring you into the land of Israel, into the country for the which I lifted up mine hand to give it to your fathers.
Right, you have an inheritance. I have to take you out of all these other places wherein you were scattered, not places that you went to on your own. So people can't turn around and say, well, you know, Yahweh calls me to come to this land. He did? Yeah. Here go my ticket right here. Huh. Oh, you had a ticket? We didn't get no tickets when we got here. Okay? This was not a decision. We were loaded on ship as cargo. Like a bunch of UPS packages. Okay? Totally different. Go ahead.
And there shall you remember your ways and all your doings, wherein you have been defiled. And you shall loathe yourselves in your own sight for all your evils that you have committed.
Right. Then we're going to truly be able to see ourselves. But if we're making a heartfelt attempt to try to judge ourselves before that time, we should have less and less to see come that day. Because the judging yourself part is the part that gives you immunity from prosecution. Yahweh didn't say, okay, you didn't do this, so I'm not going to hold it against you. No. What he said was, you definitely did this. You did that. You said it right. Oh, you did that. You should have died. But I tell you what, I looked and see how you judged yourself and how eventually you repented. I'm not going to hold that against you. Next. Do you not know how powerful that is? Go ahead, bro.
And you shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have wrought with you for my name's sake, not according to your wicked ways, nor according to your corrupt doings, O you house of Israel, says the Adonai Yah.
All right. You know, this is one of the things that we really do have to pay attention to, because the nations are on the move to make their moves across the earth, and they don't really know that they are fulfilling Yahweh's word. They are being led to do all of the gross amounts of evil that they can do. And Yahweh is setting them up every step of the way to make sure that they do all of the things that are necessary to pave the way for the redemption of his people, Israel. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.